Last week in the Herr Sprint Series, Charles Bowen was able to hang on and get his second win in a row. And we also saw a massive championship switch unfold with Abel now the new point leader over Alexander Rowe. Here tonight, we are back at Daytona and we are back at the Super Speedway in Florida. 2 races remain in the 2025 Herr Sprint Series season and the Sprint Series Night in America for the Florida 200 at Daytona International Speedway. Hello everyone, it is Nathan Saban here and welcome to the Herr Sprint Series for 2025. Already, can't believe that it's gone to this point, but this is race number 30. And after tonight, we will only have the season finale at Darlington next week. And what a season it has been here in the Sprint Series. So many different winners, so many different drivers. And at one point, it looked like Alexander Rowe was going to dominate and pull away with this championship. But, oh boy, have things changed. And we are going to be paying attention to that all night long. And we could have 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 drivers with a shot at the championship at Darlington next week. We got Ladovich back up here in the booth again. And welcome to Daytona. And how do you think this race is going to go with not only Charles Bowen trying to get 3 in a row, but also with this tight championship battle now with just 2 races to go?
Well, there's 2 ways I think it's gonna go. It's either gonna be a more top heavy battle, or it's gonna be a complete cycle race. If it is the first option here, then that's bad news for Alexander Rowe. If it's the second option, then really anyone has a chance here. So it's gonna be very interesting. But both Abel and Rowe start on the outside, and that's not great. That's not really where you want to start anywhere, especially the super speedway like Daytona.
Absolutely, and you touched on it. Abel starts second, Alexander Rowe starts 12th, and then third in points, Matt Blatt starts in the middle of the field, but he starts on the inside lane in 13th. So that could be an interesting scenario of how that all plays out. But this is Daytona, anyone can win, but Charles Bowen, he's trying to get his 3rd win in a row, and we've had, I don't know if Alexander Rowe won 3 in a row. I know he won 2 in a row at one point. Don't know if it was 3 in a row, but a very select few have won 2 in a row. And Bowen's one of them, but I think he's trying to make season history and go 3 in a row. Do you think that 56 of Bones can get the job done? Or because it's Daytona, do you think anyone can have a shot here tonight?
Well, anyone can have a shot, but he has the best opportunity. It depends on how good of a start he has, but more especially the 4 of Ericsson Jr. behind him has. Because if they go 3 wide in turn number 1 or in turn number 2 on the first lap, it's gonna remove all of the momentum that he has, and that's gonna basically sink him into that field. But if he's able to keep it up front, and if he has a fast car today, then starting from the race lead is usually the best position, and you can get dominating drives here at the Daytona. Alexander Rowe had a dominating drive in the first outing and ended up winning.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, dominated, and he actually had a good enough car that he went from 5th, 6th, 7th to the lead in a 2-lap shootout, I believe, at the end. So, who knows? That could happen again here tonight. But we just gotta wait and see. Touched on it already, but here is the point standings. It has shaken up entirely after last week at Richmond. And Abel now has a 2-point lead over Alexander Rowe. And that is essentially nothing here in the Sprint Series. That's only 2 positions, so still up in the air. And then Matt Blatt still has a shot, depending on how tonight goes. If he's 28 points back or less. Leaving here tonight, he will still have a shot. He is 22 points behind in third. BP Ruiz, minus 32. He needs to be less than 28 points behind. Either Rowe or Abel to have a shot. And then Carson Miller has been really hot in the summer months, and really, I want to say, last 10 races. He's been a top 5 machine, but he is in a not a ideal spot. 36 points behind. Still has a shot, but needs a good one here tonight. Harry Anderson Jr. has had a rough summer. Starting to get some momentum, but it might be too little too late. 54 points behind. Sammy Camara minus 56. Geraldton also minus 56. Chase McClure minus 64. And the man at the top 10 is Andrew Williams minus 77. And on the pole, once again, and trying to go 3 in a row in the sprint series is Charles Bowen in the number 56. And alongside him is the point leader of Aaron Abel. Roll number 2 is the number 4 of Christian Erickson Jr. and the number 88 of Dylan Stand-Even. The 97 of Nathan Lajboye and the 52 of Kia Sandoska. The number 93 of Emily York Watson tonight and Hallie Anderson Jr. in the 02. The 05 of Juan Rodriguez, who won last night in a thrilling race in the season opener for the Lenovo Pro Series. And the number 82 of Chase McClure. The 57 of BP Ruiz. And was point leader for most of the season, Alex Nero in the number 98. Matt Blatt, third in points, starting 13th. And the number 96 of Carson Miller. Number 50 of Jerry Whippleton. And the 13 of Sammy Camara. Number 81 of Vinny Shows. And the 87 of David Dixon. The number 3 of Jerry Townsend. And the number 90 of Trey White. The number 39 of Bradley Ream, and the number 1 of Zane Kovac, who made a daring 4-1 move on lap 2 last night in the Pro Series, and the Dylan Ebrahimian in the number 64. And then the only driver making his first start on the season in the Sprint Series here tonight is Johnson Jameson in the number 99. 20 laps, 5 laps shorter than the first race we were here for race 3 at Daytona in the Sprint Series. And I'm going to pass on to you, Lordovit. This is a wild race track, but for the 30th time on the season, who do you think will win Sprint Series 9 in America and the Florida 200?
I mean, it could be anyone. So you know what? I'm gonna go for a very, very interesting pick. I'm gonna go with Matt Black, and I'm gonna say that Aaron Abel and Alexander Rowe will have bad days, because that would just be the most entertaining outcome. So you know what? Matt Black wins, and Alexander Rowe and Aaron Abel finish outside the top 15, and we have a 3-way fight into Darlington.
That would definitely be the most chaotic way of how this race could end up going. Like you said, Matt Blatt, if he wins, and then Rowe and Abel finish poorly, then we could have a 3-way fight for this championship at least. And Matt Blatt's been consistent. He's been kind of the best driver outside of Abel and Rowe this year. So we'll see what he can do in that 69 machine. But we gotta wait and see what everyone else can do, and we gotta see what Charles Bowen can do. And then number 56, of course, Andrews Racing is on top of the owner's standings. I believe Herr Motorsports is second going into tonight. So if Bowens can get win number 3 in a row, and I believe his 4th win as a whole, then not only will that help his case, but that would help Andrews Racing case at winning the team standings. But we gotta see what ends up happening. This is Daytona. This is a wild racetrack. And we gotta see what ends up happening. It will be Charles Bowen and the point leader of Aaron Abel Williams to the green flag for the 30th time on the season the Florida 200 is green at Daytona Sprint Series 9 in America for the 30th time in 2025. A really good lap from Charles Bowen, but a good one off turn 4 for Enable, a 2-car breakaway here at Daytona. This is very odd, but it was Charles Bowen lead lap number 1, but Abel to the inside all by himself, gonna take the race lead away, and now here comes a huge one from this number 05 of Juan Rodriguez trying to go back 2 days in a row. Now this is going to get interesting with a huge slingshot move, going to get past the 56 and maybe even go side by side with Enable for the race lead.
Alright, and they dislocated very quickly, yeah. I think that a lot of drivers were surprised by how quick or not quick the others were on this race start. But that all evened up very quickly, and now it's back to 3 wide racing through the field, and that's gonna be probably what we're gonna see for most, if not all, of this race. It is yet to see if it's gonna be more of a modern super speedway race where it doesn't have a lot of passing, or if it's gonna be your classic NR 2003 cycle race, which are really the 2 main options. You could also have a breakaway, but considering how it started, it doesn't really look like it's gonna be like that. As there goes the 50 of J.R. Railton to the race lead, and I don't see any. No, I don't see any sign of race leaders on that inside lane now, because Mad Like just got of championship leaders, pardon me, on that inside lane, because Mad Like just got shuffled to the outside. And so I figure you're gonna be very careful. You need to be very careful of today. Is that middle lane, don't get stuck in it, because you're gonna spend quite a while in it. It doesn't cycle nearly as quickly as the other two, because it's kind of stuck in a box where the natural flow of a cycle race is you get to the front, then you slide a little bit up, or you try to block, so you go up, and then you're forced to stay up, so you go to the outside lane, then you make your way all the way to the bottom, and you slide back down and go back on the inside lane. That means that you're sort of boxed in if you're between those 2 lanes in this 3 wide situation here. It's kind of what we're starting to see happen here. That was a 64 of Dylan Ibrahimian that was the latest victim to that inside lane. Up front now is Vinny Scholes, and well, not anymore.
Well, for the time being, it is Vinny Scholes, and you know, we talked about the only driver that made his first start on the season. Well, here comes Johnson Jameson on the move, already in 5 laps from 24th to the front. And you know, I believe Alexander won here at Daytona in the number 1 for Trackhouse Racing. So I believe that team's trying to do the Daytona sweep. Rowe's trying to do the typical driver Daytona sweep, but we gotta see how that works out. And looks like the cycle might have ended at the time being with the 99 and the 81 up front. Here comes Sammy Camara in the number 13, and right now, oh no, oh that's big. Alexander finally got out of the middle, and now he is on the inside lane, and Matt Black and Enable are both on the outside lane. And looks like the 81 of Vinny Scholes might have a good car and gonna keep the race lead for the time being here. And Camara, Carson Miller, and you gotta watch out for this. We saw this in the Pro Series race last night. a couple of cars on this inside lane kept on peeking to the inside and tried making it full wide. That could be sketchy if it does happen, but great one from Vinny shows, controlling the lanes here at Daytona.
Yes, Schultz was able to kind of stay up front for a couple of laps here, and that's very interesting because if they start doing that more often, then the cycle is gonna get way harder to actually do, and that might be actually good for Alex in the road because being on the inside isn't necessarily a good thing. It's a better thing than being on the outside, but if you're stuck on the inside with like 6 laps to go, you're not gonna battle for that race lead at the end of it, probably, unless there is a change in how they race in the final laps, which can happen. You can have a few cars break away on the final laps and be the main contenders, but usually when a race is a cycle race, it stays a cycle race unless a wreck happens, which I mean, we've been racing pretty dangerously. We've seen a couple of weird blocks since this started, and we're considering how tight the pack is and how small it is, we're one move away from a wreck here.
Absolutely, and we saw it in the Pro Series race. On lap 2, St. Corvette made it 4 wide and about had a red there, and it ended up being Juan Rodriguez who backed out of it and was smart about it and eventually won the race. So, have to see if that ends up happening. Definitely seeing some drivers looking low in these corners, trying to push each other. And here's a big one. Alexander Rowe on this inside lane, and he is on the move. And the way that things work out, if he is able to lead a lap at the line, that would be a bonus point, and that will help him significantly in this championship fight. The 82 of Chase McClure looks like he has a good car at the moment, staying out front. But here comes Howard Anderson Jr. Needs basically 2 wins in the last 2 races to have a shot at the title, but trying to get a win here tonight. Maybe has a shot. And here comes Dylan Steele, even Alexander Rowe, and the number 93 of Emily York Watson, all on the move. And now it's turning into a little bit of a 2-car battle up front with the top lane and the middle lane. 10 laps to go at the line. Halfway through the floor of 200, and kind of seeing a little bit of everything here. A little bit of a cycle, a little bit of a breakaway, a little bit of a 2-lane battle now. Good stuff with 10 laps to go.
Yes, very good race for the moment. What's very concerning if you're in the camp of that 37 is that 37 stuck on the outside lane, which needs to be maybe the better lane right now, which is kind of weird to say, but it is doing pretty well, but not doing well enough to really create a cycle just because of how physics works. So that means that if you're stuck on that inside lane at the end of it, you're basically screwed unless the inside takes over again, starts being able to go and fight for that race lead. And who's right at the end of that outside lane right now? Aaron Abel. And who's right at the beginning of that inside lane? It's Alexander Rowe. That's basically, he's maximizing the number of points here he can really get. Actually, not, because I believe that Aaron Abel did lead at the line 1 lap. And if that's the case, he would get a bonus point. But he's almost maximizing his points here, and that would be very capital, and that would not end the championship battle, but it would make it almost out of reach here.
And this is another big moment here. Alexander Rowe in the number 98, trying to get to the inside of the 82 of Chase McClure, who looks like he has a strong car. And on top of what you were saying with Rowe being up front and Abel being in the back, if Rowe was able to lead a lap, that would be another bonus point. But it will be the 82 leading this lap, so Rowe will have to wait another lap potentially to get that bonus point. And I touched on it at the start. Rowe won here early in the season at Daytona for his second win in a row at that point. If he wins this tonight, he will not only do the Daytona sweep, not only will he retake the point lead and have a most likely a significant gap over Abel and Black again, but he will get his 6th win on the season in 30 races in the Equal Weighing Series.
That all those things would be major. However, you don't want to push it. You're in the championship fight. You don't want to make a stupid move trying to get that race lead and lose all the points you had. So I don't think he's gonna make especially a run for it, except if he's in a good position, which right now, well, if they start going side by side like that for the race lead, he might be able to come back. But it seems like on pure pace, the outside lane is doing better than the inside lane, and he's sort of stuck in a bit of a pocket here. But hey, near the 02 of Haley Anderson Jr., who again needs to win and needs everybody else to have a bad day to be able to have the championship. But they're doing their best here, and hopefully they can get rewarded if they're in that camp.
Yeah, right now, besides Alexander Rowe, Matt Black is kind of in the middle of the pack. April is still in the back part of the field on the outside lane. Has made up some ground. And then BB Ruiz is behind him on the inside lane. And then Carson Miller is also in the back. So, I mean, Haley Anderson Jr. is ahead of everyone that that team needs for a shot at the championship. But, like you said, and like we've been saying, needs to win. But the bad thing for the field is that I think Hill Motorsports might have the best car right now, and unfortunately for Abel, it's not himself. It might be the 82 of Jason McClure here tonight. Still out front in the number 82 with 5 laps to go. Then he shows for one on the outside lane. And the field is starting to get a little bit more sketchy. Matt Black just went to the middle. I don't like that move. But it's impressive that Abel is making the outside lane work, and he's actually getting a few spots here late.
Alexander Rose now been, stuck in that middle lane. We'll see how that develops. I don't know. This race has been all over the place in terms of which lane is preferred, but right now, I mean, it's never really been the middle one. So it's gonna be very interesting, but he might have just gotten into the middle at the basically worst time possible. However, Aaron Abel, I'm quite confident, will not get out of that back part of the field before the end of this race. He just doesn't have enough time. So we're gonna have probably a championship fight, and it might be a close one. We'll see. But unless we get a wreck, in that case everything would change. But
Uh-oh.
oh no.
We might get away. I saw that down the back switch. The 50 went down low into the 13. And this could be bad off turn number 4, and it is! The 3 is involved. Abel's gonna get past this. And that is gonna maybe end the race. A multi-car incident off of turn number 4. Carson Miller, not Carson Miller, the 82 of Chase McClure is going to win the race back to the line. I saw that down the back stretch. The 50 and the 13 were going at it and kind of shoved each other into the middle lane. And I think most likely, unfortunately, with that being with 3 laps to go, that's probably going to end this race here at Daytona early.
Probably. It's not impossible. It could, not do that. But I mean, we'll see. It's probably gonna end it. So it's if that ends it, then those positions are frozen. Alexander Rowe will have a major point lead over Aaron Abel coming into that final race, and goodbye Mad Black. That won't happen for him. The dream run will not happen. So that's, I mean, that would be dramatic, but I mean, let's try to restart it here, maybe if possible.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting what ends up happening. We're gonna cut the action here. We're gonna maybe see if we can get back racing, but let's go ahead and see what happened. Bring up the first caution of the day here at Daytona. Alright, this will happen to bring up the first and only caution here tonight, and welcome to story time with the big staple, because down the backstretch, I don't know what ended up happening between Kamara and Wimbledon, but Wimbledon went down into Kamara off of turn 2 and just squeezed the 13. They about went once down the backstretch, and you know, 4 wide, and then entering turns 3 and 4, there is a gap between the number 3 and the 05. And you would think, oh, if I'm the 50, I'm just gonna go up and sort this out. But he was the one that started this, and happy for Kamara. And then up the track they go into the number 3 of Jerry Townsend. And then, unfortunately, nowhere to go for the 64 of Dylan Bohemian or the 4 of Christian Eriksen Jr. with a slight tap, and then the 05 of Juan Rodriguez as well. So, yeah, I don't know what ended up happening. The 52 got a little bit of a piece of it as well with Sandowska. But I guess there was beef between these two. I know they're around each other in the point standings, but that easily could have been avoided multiple times. Started off turn 2. There's a opening, and then turn 4 there's a opening. But they just wanted to wreck each other in the race early. So, unfortunate break there. Go ahead and look at it full speed, and then get back to, not the restart, but to the finish of the race here in the Florida 200.
Alright, so what you're about to see is 2 stories. The story of terrible super speedway driving from a, inexperienced driver that happens, tried to do a bit of side drafting, ended up going way too much into the other driver, squeeze him in, and the other kind of stuck there because there's a driver up top. The spotter tells the 50 that there's a driver up top. What he doesn't tell him, because the second story is that the spotter it's terrible spotting here, doesn't tell him probably that there's a clear space up top. So they stay together and end up wrecking the field, and we have a checkered flag in yellow. So not the end of the race that anyone hoped. Not the greatest moment of the series.
Yeah, not the greatest moment, and that's a tough play for Wimbledon and Kamara. I don't know if something happened prior to that. I think maybe last week at Richmond, it might have been Wimbledon and Kamara that took each other out on lap 1. Maybe, if my memory serves me right. So I don't know if there's some late season beef between those two. But unfortunately, that's going to end a very competitive race and under yellow. But you know who's excited about that? That will be the number 82 of Chase McClure and Herr Motorsports. Let's go ahead and get to the final lap of this one under the yellow flag and eventually the checker flag for this 82 team. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. We will not be able to go back green, unfortunately. So this will be ending the race under caution. And it's going to be a big time win for Chase McClure. It's going to be his first win on the season for the driver, 9th in the point standings. And this is going to be another win for Herr Motorsports. But it's been a very strong season for Herr Motorsports. And it's going to be interesting of what happens with the Constructors' Championship between Mandus Racing and Herr Motorsports. But another fantastic race here at Daytona, lots of racing. And it's going to be very interesting on this championship battle, with Rowe finishing 7th, Abel finishing in 16th. But at the line, congratulations to Chase McClure. You're a winner at Daytona, and you will win the Florida 200 here in race 30 on the season.
completely deserved. He dominated basically the latter half of that race. So it's really deserved.
Absolutely dominated the last 8 laps or so. Definitely the second half, and once that 82 machine took the lead, was challenged a couple times, but definitely had the strong car late and another win for Hill Motorsports here this season, racking them up. I think that might be the fourth or fifth win for that team. So interesting right there. McClure with the win, Trey White. Just shout out to him. Won at Watkins Glen a couple weeks ago as a hot seat slash uncharted driver. And he almost
Yeah.
won it again. Got second here tonight. Charles Bowen's not going to be able to go 3 in a row, but a great one in the third position. Howley Anderson Jr. in fourth. B.B. Ruiz. Now that's going to be interesting. I think B.B. Ruiz finishing in fourth. He's going to possibly have a shot at the championship, but it's going to be like 26, 27 points back, something like that possibly. And he's going to need Rowe, Abel, and Black to possibly have a issue. Vinny Schultz in sixth, Alexander Rowe in seventh, Bradley Ream in eighth, Nathan Adjiboye in ninth, and Zane Kovac rounds out the top 10. Colson Miller in 11th, Matt Black in 12th, Dylan Stanley in 13th, David Ditson in 14th, Johnson Jameson in 15th, Abel in 16th, Emily York Watson in 17th, Dylan Ebrahimian in 18th, Christian Erickson Jr. in 19th, and I believe these final 5 were involved in that wreck off turn 4 of Garrett Zendoska, Jay Littleton, Jerry Townsend, Juan Rodriguez, unfortunately, last night's Lenovo Pro Series winner, and then Sammy Camara finished 24th 2 weeks in a row, unfortunately late in the season. But what a race here at Daytona. That race had a little bit of everything, a little bit of a cycle, a little bit of a 2-car breakaway on lap 1, lap 2. And then there's definitely 3 or 4 cars that, once they got up front, they were the ones to beat. Well, this is going to be a very interesting championship battle going into Darlington between really the 2 dominant drivers this season, Abel and Rowe. And then maybe Ruiz, maybe Black if things get crazy. But what's your final thoughts, Ludovic, here at Daytona for the second time this season?
You know, there's a reason we put Daytona as the penultimate race of the calendar. It's somebody didn't get in their pit stall. All right, uh, we it can throw everything out the window. That's kind of what we saw today. We found that the momentum has really shifted for Aaron Abel, but you know what? It's gonna be tied basically going into that final race because Alexander was starting at the back of the field, while it's gonna start relatively at the front for Aaron Abel. Obviously, everything's gonna depend on the amount of returning drivers that are from these leading the positions. Also, you know that Trey White guy, he's been doing pretty well on the channel those past few weeks. Hey, he might be a good pick if he decides to go for that National Series sign-ups that will happen later on, or I don't know if they've already happened when this goes out. I don't know when that happens, but yeah, he if he signs up for that, he might be a driver that will get up high there in the I don't know if they do a draft. I have no idea how that series is gonna go.
Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna go. I want to be driver in that series. I know that much, but yeah, Trey White's been a very solid driver the last few weeks. Believe he got a good finish last night in the Pro Series. Got second here tonight. So Trey White been off and on, but he's on a roll here in the last few races. And you mentioned that we've been doing the starting lineup in the Discord after signups, and I will say, Alexander Rowe got a slower lap time than Aaron Abel. Aaron Abel got a top 12 fastest lap, and Alexander got, I believe, 21st out of 24.
I
So,
believe that Aaron Abel got ninth.
ninth, yeah, ninth and
Yes.
21st. So, at the bare minimum, if everyone signs up, it's gonna be ninth and 21st for those two. And that's kind of flip flop of what tonight was in the finishing was. So, Alexander Will's been the dominant driver. He's gonna have the point lead, but he's gonna be starting behind at Darlington. And for Abel, he still has a chance at the championship. And it's gonna be a very interesting one at Darlington for the season finale of the Herr Sprint Series. Congratulations to Chase McClure on the race win. And it's going to be interesting of what happens next week at Darlington. One more race win for someone. And we also will crown a champion in a Team Owens champion with either Hilljoe Motorsports or Andrews Racing. Until next week at Darlington, we will see you guys for the season finale in the Herr Sprint Series. Will be April, Rowe, Louise Black. We just gotta wait and see. Thanks for Dover for joining me up in the booth. And we'll see you guys next week for the season finale at Darlington Raceway.